This is page 93. Headphones, please. Let's look at problem 17. So this type of division problem, you need to read it right to left. This will be 1 3/100 divided by -10 3/10. So this is a little bit confusing to work with, so go ahead and use your regular division bar and put the numbers where they're supposed to go. The first number is the dividend. It goes in the box. So 1.03 divided by -10.3. And the rule here is, if there's a decimal in the divisor, move the decimal to the right until you get a whole number in the divisor, and then the decimal in the dividend needs to be moved to the same amount. So we'll go ahead and write the new problem. So we have 10.3 divided by -103. Now if you look at this carefully, you see that it's the same number. It's like 103 divided by 103. Only bring the decimal up and put your 1 there, and then a positive divided by a negative is a negative, so it's -1/10. Problem 18 is a similar type problem. Use your regular division bar, and it makes it much less confusing. So -4/10, that's the top. Divide the top by the bottom. Yeah. So put the -4/10 inside the box down here. And then 80 is your divisor. Okay. Now make that simple and go ahead and put a bunch of zeros in here. Bring your decimal straight up. And now you can look at this a little bit easier. If you take away that 0 and that 0, you know 40 divided by 8 is 5, so 400 divided by 80 is 5. And put in those zeros. And then a negative divided by a positive is a negative, so that's -5 tenths, hundredths, thousandths. It's -5 thousandths. Number 19, sorry. 1 divided by 9/5. Go ahead and make your 1 into a whole number, so keep that the same. Change the division to multiplication. And flip that. Keep, change, flip. So 5/9 right here. 1 times 5 is 5, 1 times 9 is 9, so it's 5/9. This problem, 20, you have a complex fraction inside a fraction. Go ahead and write that horizontally, so let's put that right here. -1/4 divided by 23/24. Go ahead and keep the dividend the same, change the division to multiplication, and flip the divisor. This is the same as multiplying by the reciprocal. So multiply by the reciprocal. 23/24, the reciprocal is 24/23. And then cross cancel the 4 and the 24. Divide them both by 4, you get 6 here and 1 here. So it's -1 times 6 is going to be -6. 1 times 23 is 23. So it's -6/23. -6/23. Okay, 10 and 35/100 negative divided by -2/3. use your regular division box, division algorithm. 10.35. I have a negative divided by a negative, so right now I'm just going to drop the negatives because I don't even need to worry about them. And you see that the divisor has a decimal, so move it to the right one time, move this to the right one time, and then up. So that's sloppy, so I'm going to try that again. So it's going to be 103.5 divided by 23. 5 times 20 is 100. 5 times 23 is going to be larger than 103, so it has to be 4 times 23. 80 plus 12 is 92. Subtract, you get 1, 15. Bring your decimal straight up. Okay, now look. 5 times 20 is 100. 5 times 15 is 15. So it's going to be 5 times 23 is 115. I don't know why I brought down that decimal. That doesn't help us. Anyway, 0 there. And then negatives cancel, so it's just 4 and 5/10. Okay, Alex usually runs 21 hours a week training for a marathon. If he is unable to run for 3 days, describe describe how to find out how many hours of training time he loses, and write the appropriate integer to describe how it affects his time. Okay. 21 hours divided by 7, because a week has 7 days. So he does 3 hours per day. But if he doesn't run for 3 days, then he loses 3 hours per day, and he loses 9 hours. Okay, so describe how to find out how many hours of training time he loses. So first, find out his time spent per day by dividing 21 by 7. He spends 3 hours per day running. Then you know that 3 days skipped means he missed 9 miles running that week. Okay. Okay, so let's clean this off. Put this over. Throw that away. And blow this up. Okay, the running back for the Bulldog football team carries the ball 9 times for a total loss of 15 3/4 yards. Didn't do very well, did he? Find the average change in field position on each run. So let's just make this easy. If he had lost 18 yards, so it'd be I lost 18 yards, sorry guys, divide that by 9 runs, then you'd know that he lost about 2 yards per carry. He didn't lose 18 though, he lost negative 15 and 3/4 yards. So let's divide that by the total number of times he carried the ball, and let's figure out how much. So it won't be quite as big as that, but it'll be somewhere near that. So first let's convert this mixed number to an improper fraction. 4 times 15 is 4 times 10 is 40, 4 times 5 is 20, 40 plus 20 is 60, plus 3 is 63. So negative 63 over 4 divided by 9 over 1. Now look, you're just dividing fractions now. Keep that, change that, flip that. Negative 63 over 4 times 1 over 9, and now cross cancel those. 9 divided by 9 is 1, 63 divided by 9 is 7, so it looks like negative 7 times 1 is negative 7, 4 times 1 is 4, so negative 7 over 4 is the same as 1 3/4, so that's he's lost 1 3/4 yards per carry on average. Yards per carry. Time to get a new running back. Okay, let's look at that next problem. The 6 a.m. temperatures for 4 consecutive days in the town of Lincoln were negative 12 1/10, negative 7 8/10, negative 14 3/10, and negative 7 2/10. What was the average 6 a.m. temperature for the 4 days? So to find the average, you add up all the numbers and divide by how many. So let's add all those. 12 1/10. 7 8/10, 14 3/10. Remember to line up the decimal, and 7 2/10. Okay, add all that, so that equals 10. That equals 4, so that's 14. Okay, so I see that there's 2 plus 1 is 3, plus 7 is 10, so there's 10, there's 14, there's 21. Let's try that again. 5, 7, 14, 21, so 1 goes here, 2 goes here. It's 41 4/10. Keep it negative. And then divide that by 4 because they're 4 days. 41 4/10 divided by 4, okay, gives you 1, 10, 40. Subtract, we get 1, bring down the 4, and it looks like 3, 12. Subtract, we get 2, bring down a 0, 5, and then make it negative. So what was the average 6 a.m. temperature for the 4 days? Negative 10.35 degrees Celsius. Problem 25. A seafood restaurant claims an increase of $1,750 over its average profit during a week where it introduced a special of baked clams. If this is true, how much extra profit did it receive per day? So a week is 7 days. So you have 1,750 divided by 7. How many 7s in 17? 2, 14, 3, 5, 7. Nope, not 7. 5, 35, 0. Bring down a 0. Put up a 0. So $250 per day. $250. That's pretty good. If it had instead lost $150 per day, how much money would it have lost for the week?